Guess, a story of my motoring experiences and the lessons I've learned from these experiences. Dear Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. 1988, Chennai, in South India. I was 13 years old and a bit infatuated by a certain girl in my class. One evening, I saw her walk home on the road. I cycled really fast past her and lifted my hands off the handlebar in order to impress her. I did just giggle, all right, but also encountered a large pothole on the road, for which I tumbled down and resulted in deep gashes on my elbow and knee. Now, this incident had a valuable learning for me. Lesson number 1, use your vehicle only to get from point A to point B, and not to impress anyone, women included. Fast forward 16 years ahead, and many small accidents later, to Bombay, 2004. I was riding a motorcycle to relocate from apartment A to apartment B, with a taxi carrying all my belongings closely in tow behind me. I was checking constantly to see if the taxi is behind me or not. At one point, when I turned around to see if the taxi is behind me, a mini truck or mini tempo overtook a car coming from the opposite direction and sharply cut between me and the car, and narrowly missing me, to collide me. At this point, the rear protruding end of the mini truck hit against my handlebar, and to my shock, I found that my little finger was hanging by a nerve of my hand, exposing open bone. I recovered from my shock. I pulled out my finger, washed it, wrapped my handkerchief, and then managed to leave my belongings in my new house. Took a flight to Chennai in South India, which is 700 miles away, to a specialist hand surgeon who fixed it. This finger is all right. You can see it. The benefit is that I became ambidextrous. I gained the practice of writing my left hand for 6 weeks. I rejoined work within 3 days of the accident, gaining praise from my bosses for my commitment to work. But the most important learning is lesson number 2. Always maintain a good lookout. If you have a distraction, ensure that you stop your vehicle, finish the distraction, and then go ahead and proceed with whatever you're doing. Then start your vehicle again. Even in your flying aircraft, amongst 1,000 innumerable instruments in your aircraft, in the cockpit, the most important instrument is your eyes and the lookout that you maintain. Nothing else. Going back a few years to 2002, I was driving my car on a state highway when a dog crossed my path. I pushed my left foot very hard and tried to stop my car to avoid hitting the dog. The car spun out of control and ended up landing in the marshy area. At this point, there were no co-passengers. I was wearing my seat belt. It's all okay. But then I had a dog's life before my car became roadworthy again. So lesson number 3. In India, if you see a dog on your path, to avoid having a dog's life, put your right foot and go for the dog. As my cousin put it, why would you want to risk the lives of 5 passengers in the car for the sake of a stray dog? Lesson number 4, read the textbook. 2011, London, summer. I was learning flying, doing the 9th lesson, doing climbing turns and descending turns with a flying instructor. At this point, I remember reading the angle of bank. He said for sharp downward turn, you do the angle of bank at 30 degrees. So my instructor told me, do a sharp downward turn. I turned the aircraft control 30 degrees, and the whole horizon started spinning around me, and the aircraft started going downward spiral. Had this downward spiral continued 5 more seconds, the plane would have crashed. I would have died. I would not be talking to you here today. At this point, the instructor intervened, took control of the aircraft, and and then he managed to bring the plane back to the normal flight path. Now, during my debriefing after the flying session, which happens regularly, I found that the maximum angle of bank was not 30 degrees, but 15 degrees. So, even if you've been driving for many years, make it a point to read the updated highway code. This gives you a valuable vision and vivid insight into what you need to do exactly to have a safe driving experience. There's no replacement for your updated highway code and saying, I know it all. Sometimes it does help read it again and again once in a while. To conclude, do I recommend that you try all this? Maybe never. Do I regret having done all this in my life? Or having these near-miss whizzes with the kiss of death? No! Not in a million years. Perhaps not in a billion years. For all the valuable lessons I've gained in my life and experiences. However, what I do recommend is that you think of my little finger here, which is safe and intact, a bit deformed, all right. But think of my little finger and have a safe driving experience in reaching to your loved, near and dear ones, and having a safe Christmas, a happy Christmas, to usher in a prosperous New Year 2013. Toastmasters.